Hey team, we're going to dive into sustainable health today. And this one's going to be really interesting, hopefully for you, because we're looking into how showing up as your best is not a selfish pursuit. It's something that is taking into account all those other people that are impacted by how you show up, right? The kids watching you, the people around you at work, and really making sure that you showing up as your best. A big part of that is your relationship with your body and your performance aspect, right? So nutrition and that awareness of how we fuel our body is a pretty big part of that. Okay, so we're going to go through some simple steps for you today to make sure you can install this into your own life to really make sure you can move forward and bring a package, bring a person that you really want to be. Hope you get a ton out of today. And I really enjoyed this one, so I hope you do too. Clients in our program and conversations I've had in general, and a lot of the posts that we put out is really just looking at like, okay, why are we actually doing this, right? Why do we want to get our body back on our side? What's the goal? Is it just fat loss, or is it really how we show up, how we feel, what that does to affect our work performance, how our kids see us, like all this other stuff. So I want to dive into that today and really just get an idea of some of these aspects that allow us to get our body back on our side. And I think before we dive into it, this was not planned, but I literally had one of our coaches inside our private coaching program. We had a post. This is one of our coaches, and he literally put this question up, what I think was a really nice way of framing today's conversation, which was, is obesity contagious, right? Some studies definitely show that and I think just common sense will tell us that the environment is going to play a massive part in our health and our habits long term. So if you're not doing it for you, you should be doing it for your kids at the very least, is what I'm kind of trying to say here, right? Try and involve, as Nico very rightly said, like try and involve your family in the kitchen at as early a stage as possible. If never too early, it's never too early, and really trying to make sure that we can get our whole family involved in the cooking process and knowing where meat comes from and how to prepare veggies and just really understanding food. Because as a lot of you know, that preparation of good, high quality food is something that I feel is not mentioned enough, not practiced enough. And if you want to really set up your kids for an amazing future, feel good in their own body, fuel their own body, and actually live a high quality life, as hopefully do you, I think that's a really good way to frame it. So just want to start with that. Wasn't planned at all, but certainly an area that I think for most of us, it's trying to make sure that if we can involve these practices for us, that's fantastic. If we can involve those practices for our family and how that allows them to think of food and fueling their body for them to really show up better, I think that's even better, right? So I think that's just a cool way to start today's conversation. It's really just going to be around sustainable health and looking at how we can get our body back on our side, right? It's all about the full family culture and making sure that when we're looking at improving how we show up, it's actually impacting our whole family. This decision to improve our health, improve how we feel and look, is going to impact our whole family. And I think that's pretty cool, right? Impact your whole family through one decision, as I've written here. Okay. So what I want to go through today, guys, is very simple. How do we do diets the wrong way? Obviously, how do we do them the right way? It's going to be good too. What are we changing in the first place? What's really the goal here? What do you want to focus on long-term? What really is this long-term goal? Rather than playing the short-term goal of a 6-week quick fix, what's our long game? What are we really trying to build here? Okay. And then that really just comes back to overall, what's the result? What are we really here to change? Okay. So we're going to keep this one really simple, guys. The wrong way of dieting is eating separately to the family, counting your calories and getting tired and cranky the whole time because you're just trying to watch your weight. You're trying to eat as little as possible and try to, starve that off, right? That's a really wrong way to do it. We're going to dive into that as well. Not playing with the kids because you feel like you need to go do more traditional exercise, or not feeling like you have the energy to do it because you're trying to diet and you're trying to get your body back on, right? If you want to get your body back, we've got to start looking at how to change that, okay? Forcing yourself to eat foods that you don't like, right? Seeing that chicken is leaner or fish is leaner and you're forcing yourself to eat foods that you might not even like, right? Really big no-no that I want to dive into as well. And then the last one here is calculating how many calories you're going to burn, because it's really so dependent on the health of the body, on the type of exercise you're doing. And as we've talked about in so many other trainings, the exercise you do in the gym is such an insignificant portion of the overall function of the body. If we can get that body healthy, we can increase our muscle mass. We can make sure that our gut health is on our side, what that does to how we can burn fuel, really making sure we increase our metabolism, our metabolic rate long term, really, really important stuff. All right. So getting that really makes a big, big difference. So this is a bit of a question coming back to the family stuff, looking at the impact side of things is, I think it's, how am I going to say this? The mother was putting a big beef roast into the oven, okay? And she cut off the sides and then she put it in the oven. And one of their friends that was around for dinner asked, why do you cut off the sides? And she was like, well, that's because my mother did it. So I just do it anyway. So because that question came up, she's like, I don't actually know. So I'm going to find out. So I called up mother and she said, oh, I did it because my mum did it, right? So I just always cut off the edges. And then she called her mother and she said, hey, I keep doing this. And my daughter's just asked me, why do I cut off the sides? And I said, I did it because you did it. Can I ask why you did it? And then her mother said, I did it because we back in the day, we had such a small oven that we had to cut off the sides to be able to fit it in the oven. So you start to see that our our family and the people around us are doing things like us. They are noticing what we do. And even if it doesn't make sense, they just follow along. So again, like I said with that post with Nico, one of our coaches in the program, his kid is getting set up for life here because what he's doing is now setting up preparing meals, being involved in that cooking process, knowing what fueling the body really looks like, right? So that's really a big part of what today's about, all right, is getting an idea of why are we really doing this? Why are we making these changes? How much does it impact our family? And if we want to not just make our life better, our quality of life and longevity, we're also looking at those little guys in the corner that are watching, or little girls that are watching in the corner, which are your family, your kids, and really trying to make sure that we get that back on track is a really, really powerful message, okay? So what we're really doing here is we want to feel more energetic, right? We want to be a role model for our kids and our partner. We want to feel young, energetic, stop that downward spiral, right? We want to be able to feel like we enjoy food with our family rather than having, mum's meal over here or dad's meal over here and having to eat differently. So really, really important to get that base. And obviously we want to feel confident. We want to feel sharp in our own skin. So the goal here is not just dropping a couple of kilos and suffering to make it happen. We want to really look bigger long term. What does that really do for the body? And ultimately, who's watching us, right? And then how's it going to really impact them as well? So the result here is really trying to make sure that we're separating not necessarily the emotion from food, that might be a bit the wrong way of putting it, but getting the idea of making sure that we're nourishing the body. We're really thinking about it. I'm going to dive into that a bit more. We're building our long-term focus in our choices, right? Your kids, your partner look up to you. So how you fuel your body, how you go and respect your time and your energy to go train, to work your body, to feel healthy, to show up for them, right? I had a conversation with one of our clients the other day that said his kid came up to him. He had a conversation, with the kid and said, like, look, this is what I'm doing with the Meta Project. This is what they're doing and helping us because I want to show up for you better. And his kid's like, I love you, Dad. And I was like, that's really cool. His kids are like, I really like that you're doing this for us. And when you have that communication with them, what does that really do? Really, really big stuff. And your body's, if your body's holding you back, that's another big part, right? Like the big part of getting our body back, getting our energy up, refueling that body is so that we can be involved with the weekend mountain bike ride or kicking a footy around or whatever it might be, just getting a nice base of making sure that body's not getting old and feeling like you're having to sit in the sidelines a bit more. Okay, so that's really the result. We're looking at how we can really build up and elevate how we feel and make sure that we're not having to say no to these activities because we don't feel our body's up to it or feeling like all our adventures are behind us, right? We want to really make sure that that result is something we're building for, something we're working towards, right? That's pretty important. So first part, as a little bit of an action step to give you some points to focus on to really work forward, is making sure that we're focusing on satisfy, not starve. We're focusing on fueling the body, okay? One of the big problems in today's society around fat loss, around general fitness, is the fact that we're forcing our body to try and make some sort of change rather than getting our body on our side. And I've just got off a call with another client in that position that said, body's not changing, so I'm going to drop the calories and I'm going to work harder. And I'm like, mate, do you know how stressed you are at the moment? Do you know how much is going on in the rest of your body? I guarantee if you keep doing what you're doing, one, you're going to keep getting the results you've always gotten because you're doing the things you've always done. But the second part there is trying to shift your focus on how do you get your body on your side because it's working against you right now. So if you want to really look at this longevity aspect, that sustainable long-term health, make sure you're looking at really covering that base of nutrients, of colors, of vitamins and minerals in your food. So your body elevates its metabolism, elevates its energy, elevates how you feel and how you show up, and you actually want to move and exercise and get that daily activity in. That's going to be so much more important. The second part here is respect your schedule. Now, we go into massive trainings here with our clients that they really love, because the focus here is how do we get you in your day, right? Because everyone else is chucking shit in there and you've got obligations and deadlines and projects you're working on, but where is you in your day, okay? And making sure that that's not just, oh yeah, I'll get around to it. It's like, I'm not going to just because it's raining outside not train today. I'm going to do that because I respect myself enough to get up and go exercise, or make my a prepared meal rather than getting Macca's on the way home, right? Getting an idea of what that looks like. Respect that schedule. Respect what parts of your day are in there for your mental and physical health to really show up as your best. Okay, you've got to respect that schedule because nobody else will for you. Okay, so the simple analogy of putting your own oxygen mask on before you help others. Otherwise, you're not as useful, as helpful, as present, as sharp, as energetic as you otherwise would be, right? So you're actually doing a disservice to other people if you're not putting time aside for you to actually build up that energy cup. The next one here is actually get clarity on what you really need, right? We're so quick to spend money on supplements and diets and all these things, but we don't actually dive deeper in understanding how do we get our body back on our side, right? And this is a huge shift that we're making in the industry with the Meta Project, is making sure that we actually look into your blood work. We do full analysis on these biomarkers, but we also do quizzes to get an idea of your symptoms and stuff that's coming up on a day-to-day basis. We dive into mindset and get an idea of what's really showing up there. So when we actually prescribe certain changes with your nutrition, your training, we've actually looked under the hood. We've looked deeper into what's really going on, right? So rather than just paying a couple $100 a month for supplements or foods that you think are going to help you moving forward, and by all means, this is not a good choice. We've got some terrible oils. We've got some breads and it looks like wine in the background. But anyway, trying to make sure that we're looking at getting the body healthy first, and trying to make sure that we are listening and we've taken the time to actually understand what our body needs. Is the liver stressed out? Is your thyroid function actually on your side? Really, really key. We're seeing that stress really come through in general gut or other biomarkers that are affecting things, right? If we understand that, we can address that and we can adjust your nutrition and training accordingly, right? So if you haven't already, take that time to maybe consider, when was the last time you got some direction, some structure, some accountability with your program? And don't you think that would, accelerate your progress? I have no doubt that you're going to make the changes regardless, but don't you want to get there faster? Don't you want to be more clear around that, how that looks for you, right? Really, really important part. Next part here that I'm just going to quickly make sure I add in, I probably add this in every week because nobody listens, is sleep matters, right? Everybody's asking me, how much is it nutrition? How much is it training? I'm like, well, let's look at your sleep and let's see what that tells us, because that's going to tell us our stress. That's going to tell us our ability to how well are we looking after our nutrition, right? Are we waking up during the night? How's the body really functioning? And is that showing through in high quality sleep, or are you waking up constantly? Are you waking up feeling drained? Are you not feeling refreshed? Because if you're not waking up with feeling like, damn, that was actually a good night's sleep, I feel well recovered, then adding in high quality food is going to be helpful than bad quality food, but your body is going to store things much easier, right? You're going to be more moody, more stressed, more likely to overeat. If you're training, you could just be adding stress on top of stress. And again, your body's getting more and more resistant. So stress, again, is a huge aspect here that we need to build up and we want to make sure is a nice base. All right. And then the last one, which really ties into our big conversation, and I have this conversation, I don't know how many times every week, is just starting with stress will kill you. And the reason I am so strong with this one, although it's not a big sexy marketing campaign, is because this is the thing that's held me back in my own fitness journey more times than I could ever tell you, right? Whether that's being trying to focus on building a business, whether that's being trying to force my body to build muscle, drop body fat, and trying to really work against it. Too much training is stress, right? Not enough food is stress. Too much workload is stress, not enough sleep, whatever it comes through as, or again, eating foods that our body doesn't agree with and causing that bloating, that tiredness, gas, that overall inflammation, that's more stress on the body. But really what I'm addressing here, those are all aspects that are going to hold you back. But specifically today, I'm going to address the mental stress, right? Getting an idea of those hours you're putting in, the things that you're worrying about, the overwhelm, the ability to not take a second just to check inward and understand, am I doing okay? Am I taking that time to look after me? Because if you don't have that base, your body will be working against you, right? It's all the things we've talked about till now. Your biomarkers will be out of whack. Your sleep will be terrible. You won't be utilizing food or digesting it very well. So getting an idea of nailing that schedule, building a base of awareness around your stress has to be a key consideration in both your mental and physical health, okay? So to recap on this, guys, I'm going to keep this short and sharp. I'm going out to dinner with my lovely partner. Got a nice little promotion I was told not to tell anyone about, but we're going to go out to dinner and celebrate. And again, I enjoy food, so we are not counting calories. We are enjoying good quality food. But I'm getting off tangents. Anyway, to finish off here, sustainable change. We want to make sure that there are 4 things really we've gone through on top of that base. Is 1, we need to set our schedule, right? We need to respect ourselves enough to put ourselves in that calendar that I know that at this time of day, I'm working out. At this time of day, I'm eating. This time of day, I'm taking some space. This time of day, I stop work no matter what. So I actually have an hour or 2 to slow down at the end of the day, right? The next part here is you need to include your family. Find a way to improve the awareness of health in your entire household and what that does to how you show up on a day-to-day basis. Your conversations around food, your appreciation of food will go through the roof, right? And the next part here is don't leverage or don't worry so much about the mood that you have going into a certain conversation or a certain exercise, because some days you won't feel like exercising. But start to look more long-term. And that's going to be really the goal of this sustainable health conversation, which is you're doing these things today, not because it feels good today, but because you know it will feel good later, because you know it will serve you later, that you know it will allow you to show up as your better self later. All right. So making sure that you focus on not necessarily how you feel right now. If you feel a bit sluggish and you feel a bit down, you're still going for that morning walk. If you still feel a bit sluggish and a little bit run down, you're still focusing on getting a good meal rather than getting Uber Eats ordered in, right? Getting a base of really being intentional with your choices and focusing on what's going to serve you long term rather than the convenience factor, the comfort factor that's holding you back and causing that sluggishness and sometimes those setbacks in general with your health, our energy, and really our ability to feel good. Okay, so hope you found that useful, guys. That's certainly a big conversation. As you can see, it's an area of frequent communication and also passion for me because I've been there. I understand it. It's not just nutrition and training. It's getting that body feeling great so we can actually live life to its fullest and feel like our body is working with us. All right. So anything I can help you with there, guys, please let me know. If you want to reach out and, dive into how we can help you with a couple of these points, please let us know. And if there was anything that you took away from this training as an area of focus for the next couple of weeks, something that you can really work on that maybe has been a good little reminder or even something new, I'd love to hear from you. Always, I'm doing these to invest into you guys to make sure that you are being able to improve your own health because you're investing in time into watching and listening to me in how much is going on in this world. I do appreciate that and want to make sure that I'm serving you guys too. So hope you had a great week. I hope that was really helpful. And like I said, drop a comment below. I'd love to see what you took out of that. See ya.